Let's talk about 3 Pomodoro apps that more people need to be talking about. And I'm gonna start with my favorite. I have used many, if not all, Pomodoro apps throughout nursing school and anesthesia grad school, and I can honestly say this is my favorite, which is Horo. The reason why I wanted to start with Horo is because that app constitutes all the characteristics that I consider basic requirements in any Pomodoro app, as well as nice to have bonuses in a Pomodoro app. So the requirements are keyboard shortcuts to start the Pomodoro as well as end the Pomodoro. I want to spend less of my life dragging my cursor pointer up to a tiny icon on the menu bar or in the dock. I need keyboard shortcuts. I'm trying to exit that era of like mouse dragging, okay? The second requirement I have is the ability to customize the Pomodoro length. The classic Pomodoro is 25 minutes, but we all know we should be doing deep work, which is flow state for multiple hours at a time. So we may start with 25 minutes of Pomodoro, but we want to gradually push that and see if we can increase our focus to 45 minutes at a time or an hour at a time. I think this is just a tenet of good working habits, and I think it's kind of mean when developers restrict that ability to customize Pomodoro length to the paid or pro version. In terms of bonuses, so not requirements, but little extras that make using the app more enjoyable. Number 1 would be the ability to review your previous Pomodoros and identify your working habits and any patterns and what you can improve on. Number 2 is natural language input. I think more and more consumers these days expect to be able to do most, if not everything, from the keyboard. And we don't want just keyboard shortcuts. We want a command palette, and we definitely want natural language input. The next thing is speed. So developers talk about this 100 millisecond threshold for something to feel instantaneous. A lot of apps these days, like my Superhuman Email, have developers that are prioritizing that speed. Last thing is pricing. I don't expect things to always be free. I don't mind paying for a really good app. I do think that most consumers these days do prefer a one-time payment over a subscription model. And Horo has all of this. More people need to be talking about Horo. It's super easy to use, so fast. Starting a Pomodoro, indicating the length and what you're working on is so seamless, so fast. You need this in your life. This is not sponsored. This is just a piece of authentic UGC, okay? So as I promised, Horo can be opened up with a keyboard shortcut. There we go. And you can see my last Pomodoro was up as well as my previous ones. And it's as easy as typing in 30 minutes, hashtag, whatever you want. And then you can start it and you can see it's already running. And if I open it up again, you can see you have some functions here. Preferences, obviously. Here is where you would see previous stats. I love the idea of using a hashtag to just quickly categorize what you're working on. I think it adheres to that philosophy of maintaining your hands on the keyboard, really quickly type in a hashtag and a category. You know, don't make me use my cursor to select from a menu. No, this is like way more efficient. I think it's pretty genius. You can see 7 days, you can see actually any time range as well. The next app is called Balance, and the unique thing about this Pomodoro app is emphasis on work-life balance. They really want you to be intentional about you're sitting down, you're opening your laptop, you're clocking in a sense. So do your work for real, and when it's time to take a break, they actually encourage you with a prompt to lock your screen. Obviously it's optional, but if you do lock your screen, that encourages you to actually step away from the computer and take a real break, stretch, etc., which you know you need. We all need this reminder because otherwise we'd be wasting our break, scrolling on YouTube or Amazon, sitting in a chair that we've been sitting in all day, getting a stage 1 decubitus ulcer on our butt. So I think that's what's really nice about this app. It's very beautifully designed and it's very intentional about emphasizing work-life balance. Circling back to my requirements, they do not allow custom keyboard shortcuts, but they have selected some keyboard shortcuts for you. However, I don't really see how they're usable because, for example, they've selected Command O to be open the app, but that keyboard shortcut is actually very frequently used in other apps. Like for example, in Apple, Command O is set to open a file. So I don't see how it's usable, but I'm not always the sharpest tool in the tech savvy shed. So if somebody knows, please teach me in the comments. And then lastly, if you do want the paid or pro version of the app, it's a yearly subscription for $25, which I think is a little bit higher than most people want to pay. Let me orient you to what we're looking at here. So here is the time that I clocked in this morning. So at 5:08, I opened my laptop, I opened Balance, and they have a button that says clock in. So again, they want you to be very deliberate and intentional when you're sitting down to work. This button here, I'll click when I take a break, and this button here, I'll click when I'm ready to begin a Pomodoro. But here in Balance, they call Pomodoro sessions focus sessions. So that's why you can see here for today's session, this is how long I have been clocked in. Here's the total duration of my breaks. And here is how long I've intentionally clicked that button to say that not only am I clocked in, but I'm focusing, I'm doing a Pomodoro now. Next is the Alfred timer. So if you already have Alfred, and I feel like the demographic that watches these videos generally already does have Alfred. It sounds basic and the icon looks basic, but here's the thing. It does basic so well. I'm just gonna rattle off all the pros. Keyboard shortcuts, because it's Alfred, check. 2, super speedy in the way that Alfred is and that we expect and have come to love. 3, multiple timers can run. And 4 is my favorite. It's the way it notifies you when your Pomodoro or your break is done. It also asks what message do you want at the end of the Pomodoro. So I'm gonna write donezo. It's a large notification that covers half the screen. Again, this is in that philosophy of encouraging you to really stop working and take a true break. This has been really helpful for me because I have a bad habit of just continuing to work past the Pomodoro. A big pop-up like this, it's a good reminder for me to stop. Because if it's just gonna be like a little notification banner in the top right corner of my screen, I can ignore that forever. But this is cute. I have been enjoying this. If you didn't know what Alfred is, you should check it out. It's a powerful automation tool for Mac, if not maybe the most well-known automation tool. For example, a custom gesture to snap a window to the left or right half of the screen. If you're interested in that, I made a video on it. I'll link it now. Okay, bye.